Welcome back to Asia Fruit Congress and to our category spotlight session for the next half hour. My name is Mike Knowles. I'm the editorial director for Europe at FruitNet. So having looked Okay, I think there was a problem there. I guess you couldn't hear me, so we'll start again. Welcome back to Asia Fruit Congress and to our category spotlight session for the next half hour. My name is Mike Knowles. I'm editorial director for Europe at FruitNet. So having looked in great detail at Asia's fresh produce supply chains and consumer trends in the market, and then new production models, we're now going to explore the market potential for fresh produce in Asia from the point of view of suppliers which are outside the region. In a few minutes, we're going to hear from Willem Besbeer, the chief executive of South African table grape industry, about how that country's grape exporters are taking steps to increase their business in Asia. But first, we're going to head to Italy and hear about an apple brand called Melinda. Now, in the past few months, the consortium behind Melinda has formed a new partnership with one of the country's largest fresh produce marketing companies, Natura Italia, to start developing sales of its fruit in Asia. Despite being Italy's best-known fruit brand and a well-known trademark across Europe, Melinda is very much an unknown in Asia. But as of this season, that's all about to change. I spoke earlier to Andrea Fedrizzi, who is the marketing and communications manager at Melinda itself, and to Augusto Ranella, export coordinator and marketing R&D manager at Natura Italia. Let's hear what they had to say.
Andrea and Augusto, thank you very much for joining us. Now, Melinda is a brand name that sits at the top of the fresh produce pile in terms of the recognition it has in Italy. And it's also a name that's well known as a premium apple trademark around much of Europe and especially in wholesale. Andrea, why has the company now decided to turn some of its attention to Asia?
Thanks, Mike. Let me say that Melinda is a big consortium where 4,000 farmers are working and is producing every year 500,000 of half a million tons of apples. And our system developed more or less 300 million euros of turnover. And as you know, we have developed a brand. And today, this brand is the one with more awareness in fruit and veg in Italy, and is looking for countries where to export that can appreciate the branded products. We believe that Asian market can be a market that can give value, the right value to premium brand as the one we have. And we expect that this market can enhance and reward premium quality products like Melinda are. Of course, this will be a major economic satisfaction to our farmer, of course.
Now, Augusto, you know the Asian market very well. What specific opportunities do you see for the Melinda brand in Asian markets?
Okay, we can say that there are macroeconomics aspects that, in my opinion, make possible that these projects will be successful. First, the urban population growth in Asia. So this is a process on the way. It will grow more and more in the future. And so we see this as an opportunity because when the urban population grows, the large-scale distribution develop. And so this is one of the main customer we want to reach, the large-scale distributor. Then we can say that as you know, Asia is a vegetarian area. There are a lot of vegetarians in Asia, so means high consumption of fresh fruit and vegetables. So we also observe that there is a growing buying power of the middle class in Asia. So in the future, it will be more buying power and more consumers able to buy imported fruits. Then when we talk about target markets, we can say the Far East area in general, but when we go into the specific, we can say Singapore, Hong Kong, Malaysia, Indonesia, Taiwan, Vietnam, and Thailand. These are the focus market we want to reach.
More generally, do you see any major trends in the apple category in Asia that can offer Melinda particular opportunities to grow? What about you, Augusto?
We know that Asia as a fruit and vegetable market is a market that like the brands. So you can find a lot of brands into Asia. From our point of view, we will sell Melinda, not only apples. This is the approach we will have. Then we noticed that the interest in club apples growth. Melinda has a wide range of club apples in production, so we can offer some of them to the Asian market. Then another aspect that we noticed in the Asian apple market is the organic apples growth in terms of market share in some countries. As Melinda, we are able to offer also organic. Then the food safety attention from these new consumers, we used to say in Europe, even if they are consumer like the others, but there is a growing attention on these kind of aspects, especially in some countries. And then there is the main, we can say, an argument of sustainability. We follow all the sustainability, all the aspects, social, economic, and environmentally. So that's why we believe that the apples of Melinda will fit with the Asian market.
Mm. And how about you, Andrea? Do you see a good opportunity there in Asia to sell apples under the Melinda brand?
Yeah, let me say that our development in terms of variety, I think can be ideal even to reach areas like Asian, where we will have variety perfect to be exported so far away. And last comment is that with a partner like Naturitalia, it's probably the best option to do this path and achieve our goals due to the expertise and know-how that they have in this market.
Now, it's clear that Asia is opening up more and more to Italian apples. We've had 3 new markets open just in the past 12 months. As a supplier then, what in particular does Melinda have to offer buyers in the region? Augusto, how is Melinda different to other major Italian apple suppliers?
Yeah, there are some skills that make Melinda different from the other suppliers. First of all, the apples from Melinda are available 40 weeks a year. I mean, for the overseas market. So we can put on the table a very wide apple calendar in terms of supply. Then the quality standards. The Melinda supply chain is one of the most advanced in the sector. New varieties, not only the standard varieties, but some new varieties in terms of club apples. Then the organic apples together with the conventional. This is another important part of our business. And then the marketing. You know, Melinda's focus is marketing, is one of the most famous brands in Italy and in other countries in Europe. And so we will use all the marketing activities to support the distribution of our apples.
And now it goes without saying, marketing is such a key factor in any fresh produce market, but especially Asia, where brands tend to be very prominent indeed. But I guess buyers will be looking and asking, what about the apples themselves? What sets those products apart from others in the market?
Yeah, sure. So the answer is very easy for me because we can say thanks to the nature, because the apple of Melinda are grown in one of the best areas in Europe and probably in the world to grow apple. It's a valley surrounded by mountains. The altitude goes from 400 to 1,000 meters above the sea level. And so in this area, you have one of the best microclimate conditions to grow apples. Then obviously the Melinda supply chain and value chain make the rest. Melinda uses some of the most advanced technologies to grow, select, sort, and so on the apples. And then the made in Italy value. This is something we know works very well in Asia, thanks to the reputation that Italy can offer in terms of good quality products. And so we noticed that this aspect works also for fresh fruits.
Mm.
Let me add something about the value that we can give, because, for example, I like to tell that energy used is 100% renewable, and our micro irrigation method is a method that reduces 30% of water consumption, and few people in the world knows that only 7% of global agricultural system use this method, and in our valley the farmers are using it 100% of them. We can say that sustainability is a challenge that will play a really important role in the future of our world. So you know, we are the one and the only in the world that are naturally able to preserve apple in the heart of the mountain. And if you want, you can even go deeper in this topic. But really, sustainability is it will be a challenge that will have a really core in the future.
Andrea, you mentioned the mountains there, which, unique to Melinda, the group uses to store all its harvested fruit before it goes on to be sold and distributed. This is quite a remarkable underground network of cold storage rooms that you've built inside the mountain. Can you tell me a bit more about these?
Of course, Mike, we are so proud about this project. Our apples are the one and only preserved in the Hypogeus warehouse, we call it in this way. With this system, we preserve the apple in a natural and sustainable way, reducing the impact on the environment. Caves dug in the Dolomia rock, 300 meters below the roots of apple trees, of course. And why it's so sustainable? It's like we found a natural fridge because of the environment protection. We don't need to anymore any impacting building in landscape. So we are protecting our environment, our landscape. We have 50% of electric power saving. That means half of CO2 emissions. We have water saving. We have zero acoustic pollution and no insulating panels necessary. So concluding, is a deal for Melinda and a deal for nature. And because of this, we are really proud about this project, and we are developing it again during this year.
And I can see on the poster behind you the message about the underground caves and sustainability. Given it's a phenomenon unique to Melinda, I know you use it in your marketing a lot. So when it comes to Asia, what plans do you have in place now to develop marketing communications in Asian markets? How are you going to target consumers and business customers there?
Yeah, we have the idea quite clear. At the beginning, we think that it's crucial acting on both directions, B2B and B2C, involving either wholesalers and consumers. The base of our work is underlying the concept that Melinda is a very important player and in the supply chain, and explaining why. Every material of communication, like packaging or POP material, will be based on the concept of Melinda, the premium quality Italian apple, and giving a big importance, of course, even to the concept of made in Italy. We will act in with dedicated materials. For example, for wholesalers, more technical materials, in-store promotion and digital activities, and or proximity, and the one dedicated to the consumers will be proximity market or videos or something dedicated to them. So clear double way to move, and clear that materials and techniques are different for one or the others.
And finally, one last question for both of you. Where do you see the Melinda brand going in Asia in the next 3 to 5 years? What are your expectations in terms of the success that you can have in the region?
We are a player that are doing, I think, a great job inside, I mean, Italy or Europe. And we have characteristic ideal to do well over there. So let Natura Italia do the great work we think they can do. Let's support them with all they will need, and let's see in a few years where and how we will be over there.
And Augusto, what about you?
We can say that what we expect is not only to put the flag into the market, but to do more. Because as I told you before, we don't want to sell only apples, but Melinda apples. So we want to build up the brand into the markets together with the Apple presence. So it's a process that will engage all the supply chain, marketing, services, and so on. We are discussing with service provider the option to pack the apples into the market to delivery in consumer format, such as 4 pieces, 6 pieces, bags, and so on. So the process is on the way, but I can say that I see an optimistic future for Melinda apples into Asia.
Let me add just that looking the fast development of this market, we believe that they are going very soon to evaluate sustainable Italian products like Melinda has. So we are confident.
Well, it's always great to hear when people in the produce business are confident. We wish you the very best of luck with developing Melinda as a brand in the Asian region. Andrea Fedrizzi and Augusto Ranella, thank you very much for joining us.
Welcome back. Well, we've heard there from one Northern Hemisphere supplier, somebody who's trying to get into the Asian market for the first time. And now we're going to turn our attention to the Southern Hemisphere and to South Africa. And I'm very pleased to say that we have with us Willem Besbeer from South African table grape industry. I say we have him with us. We have had some connection problems. So he may be only available on the sound. We can't necessarily see him, but he is there down in Upington, in a beautiful part of the world in the Northern Cape, where I'm told it's 29 degrees C today. Very, very nice down there. Willem, great to have you with us. I hope you can hear us and we can hear you.
Yes, my apologies. I can hear you clearly.
Nothing to apologize for, Willem. It's all part of the great experience of virtual conferences. So let's crack on. Let's talk about South African table grapes and what you're doing in Asia. Now, as an industry, you're still very much focused on the UK and Europe. We're very lucky here in the UK, where I am, to have some fantastic South African grapes. And UK and Europe account for 75% of your total exports. But Asia is very much on the radar. Can you give us an update on, where your main markets in Asia are and what's the plan for the future?
Yes, Mike, as you've said, 75% still goes to the UK and Europe. And obviously that's a priority for us to retain those markets, and even I think it's a strategic imperative for us. Focus is on East, and there we already have market access to Thailand, Vietnam, Indonesia, Malaysia, and the likes. And then new on the radar screen for us is South Korea and Philippines. There we are in the process of new market access, and the process is really progressing quite well.
Well, that's good to hear. We've had one or two problems on the line, but we will persevere. It seems to be okay for the moment. Now, China really stands out as a key target market for South African grapes in Asia. And you have some exciting market development campaigning that you've been working for a few years on. We might just have some slides there. We can show some of the visuals that you've been working on as an industry. And you plan to export as many as 10 million cartons within the next 5 years to China. And we're talking about a business that could be worth around 80 million US dollars. Can you tell us what's in store there in China and how you plan to achieve that goal?
Yes, we have a new focus on China. So we visited the market quite frequently. We researched the market. We spoke to campaign. We've developed a very specific identity, showing them what South Africa can offer and kind of reflecting beautiful fruit from a beautiful country. And that'll be a campaign that we will be running over the next 3 years in China, working very, very closely there with importers, with retailers, with wholesale markets. And the plan is to develop that market to selling
Okay, well, I apologize for some of the
very unique China specific.
Okay, and just generally as a category, how do you see the future opportunities and challenges for your industry in Asia? Grape consumption in Europe and US appears relatively flat, but it's a different story in Asia, isn't it?
It seems to me that the line's dropping again, but I will carry on. Asia is obviously exciting, not only for South Africa, but I think for the whole of the fruit industry, and especially us in the Southern Hemisphere. And the economy there is growing, the population is growing. The Asians have a very strong fruit consumption culture. And that all bodes well for us. And we also firmly believe that the fruit industry and our industry in particular, that we are well positioned, because it seems to us that the latest trend, the global trend, is a diet that's increasingly health conscious, and it's kind of favoring a plant-based diet. So that all bodes very well from that part of the world for us as suppliers from the Southern Hemisphere.
Well, that's good. And let's talk about what the industry itself is doing in South Africa to react to that trend. And we've seen an explosion of new varieties released to producers by major breeders in the past 5 years or so. And it's fair to say that South African growers have really embraced those new varieties very enthusiastically. We've seen the highest plantings of royalty-bearing cultivars outside the US in South Africa. How do you see those new varieties changing the table grape industry where you are and making it more fit for purpose in Asia?
Mike, the benefits are obvious, to the grower. It is certainly better yields. It's a lower cost input in the form of, for example, labor and sprays and manipulation. For the consumer, it is obviously, highly increased eating quality. It's better shelf life. And for the retailers, I think it offers diversity. It offers opportunity for diversification and differentiation. So all of those things are quite exciting. But there's also, to all the positives, a few cautions. And one is that there's a convergence of supply from all over the world. More and more regions are overlapping because of the technology available nowadays. I think local evaluation of these varieties are quite important, and we pay a lot of attention to that now in South Africa. These programs are expensive, make no mistake. And I also think that, as a country, we firmly believe in a free market system. So we would like to see the licensing arrangements to be a bit more open than it currently is. But all in all, it's a good proposition. We're excited about it. And as you've said, we've invested in it quite heavily. So the prospects are really good, and it's changing the face of the industry, remarkably.
That's good to hear. Just finally, Willem, I guess another challenge with the new licensed varieties that you mentioned is the relatively long transit time from South Africa to Asia compared with some of your competitors. What bearing does this have on the varieties that you are shipping and you're going to ship in future?
Mike, I've referred to what we call the China specification. So that specification for product from South Africa into China under the identity of this campaign. There are very, very strict selections of varieties. Almost all of them are proprietary varieties, and we have meticulously selected those, in terms of how sought after they are in the Asian markets, in this instance, China, how well they can travel, and obviously the eating quality. And therefore, there are also only limited varieties allowed in this market development campaign of ours in China. And it's all about uniformity. It's about condition of stems on arrival. And it's also about the attention to bloom. Those things the market have pointed out to us are important to them, and our specification is designed accordingly.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Willem, for taking the time to talk to us about it. And we wish you all the best with growing your business in Asia. And thank you for proving that distance is a challenge that it's not impossible to overcome, especially given the challenge we've had this morning talking to you. We have overcome it, and I'm glad we had you with us. Thank you very much, Willem.
Thank you very much, and keep well.
Okay, so that's our category spotlights. What's new in Asia? We're going to take a break now, come back just shortly, and we'll have our final session of the Asia Fruit Congress on, and that's all about the new shape of Asia's trade post-pandemic. And we look forward to being post-pandemic, of course. We'll see you shortly. Thank you very much for tuning in.